You've been told your whole life that your habits are wrong. Eating weird, losing focus, speaking your mind when others stay quiet. They said these were character flaws, but new research in neuroscience shows something different. Many of the habits you were scolded for are actually your brain's way of staying sharp. Today we're looking at 10 everyday habits society punishes and what they're really building inside your mind. Stay until number 1. It's the habit that costs you the most socially, but turns out to be one of the sharpest cognitive tools you have. Number 10, unconscious doodling. You're stuck in an endless meeting or a mind-numbing lecture. Instead of sitting there rigid and upright, your hands start tracing random shapes and spirals on whatever paper's in front of you. To anyone watching, you look completely checked out. But cognitive neuroscience has a very different read on what's actually happening. Those doodles are activating your basal alertness system. When the information coming at you is flat and monotonous, your brain starts slipping into an energy-saving mode, basically powering down. Doodling acts as a motor anchor that stimulates the cerebral cortex, forcing it to stay switched on. You're handing your brain a tool to keep it from going offline in low-stimulation environments. Most people who keep up this habit strengthen their attention networks and train their working memory, retaining up to 30% more of what they hear. Try this. Keep a small notebook nearby during long meetings or classes and let your hand move freely. Don't aim to draw anything specific. Abstract shapes and patterns work best. The goal isn't art, it's keeping your brain engaged without losing track of what's being said. Staying alert is one thing, but your brain also pushes back through your words in ways nobody wants to hear. Number 9, fluency in profanity. You've been told to clean up your language since you were a kid. Research shows that using these words trains specific neural pathways in your brain. Studies on linguistic intelligence show that using high-impact expressions sharpens your rhetorical agility and your response under pressure. When you let out a curse word after something goes wrong, you're triggering stress-induced hypoalgesia, a fast, natural painkiller your nervous system produces on demand. You're training your limbic system to process anger and pain in milliseconds, building far more efficient neural pathways that help you snap back to rational thinking before a knee-jerk impulse turns into something worse. Next time you feel a strong emotional reaction, don't suppress the words. Let them out in a controlled setting. Venting verbally, even briefly, gives your nervous system the release it needs to reset faster and think more clearly. Number 8, the predictive probability engine. You're watching a thriller with friends and right in the middle of the plot, you blurt out exactly who the killer is or how the whole thing ends. Everyone tells you to stop ruining it, but from a neurological standpoint, your brain is training its capacity for predictive coding. You're pushing your frontal lobe to practice recognizing complex patterns at a high level. Your mind is pulling together data points that seem completely unrelated and running real-time probability calculations. By anticipating the outcome, you're sharpening your fluid intelligence, getting ahead of scenarios, spotting what doesn't add up, predicting what's coming before anyone else sees it. When you finish a movie or a series, take 30 seconds to think back on the clues you picked up before the ending clicked. When the more you make this conscious, the faster your pattern recognition becomes. Predicting endings is one thing, but your brain also turns every commute into a live training session. Number 7, social scenario simulation. You're on the subway, and even though you look like you're off in your own world, you're quietly tuned into the conversation the strangers next to you are having, piecing their story together in real time. People call it nosy. What you're actually doing is using that dead time as a cognitive training ground. By picking up fragments of someone else's conversation, you're forcing your brain into spontaneous deductive reasoning. Your mind fires up what's known as theory of mind, a higher-order cognitive function that lets you decode tone, connect the gaps in a story you only caught pieces of, and build full sociological simulations to fill in what's missing. You're exercising your problem-solving brain without even realizing it. Pure exercise for the neural networks responsible for solving complex problems. Use those idle moments to tune into the environment around you, a conversation nearby, a reaction you didn't expect, a story you only catch pieces of. Don't force it, just observe. The more your brain practices filling in the gaps, the sharper your deductive reasoning gets. Number 6, selective eating. You tear off every crust before you even take a bite. You leave every pizza crust sitting untouched on the plate. People roll their eyes and say you eat like a picky child. But neurobiology reads this differently. By ditching the parts you don't want, you're training your brain to filter out sensory noise and zero in on maximum reward. You're teaching your mind to spot the low-value inputs, the filler, the bland, the part that doesn't deliver, and cut them without hesitation. That habit of separating what matters from what doesn't builds neural pathways that strengthen your executive function, setting priorities, dropping unnecessary distractions, and making fast decisions in your professional life. Pay attention to the moments in your day when you instinctively skip the filler, whether it's in a meal, a conversation, or a task. That instinct is your executive function at work. The more you notice it, the more deliberately you can apply it where it actually counts. If you're recognizing yourself in these habits, take a breath. You're not broken. Let's keep going. Or number 5, rhythmic chewing. You have this almost electric need to chew gum all day, or you catch yourself crunching ice cubes while pushing through a difficult task. To everyone else, it looks like anxiety or nervous energy. But what you're actually doing is hacking your own physiology. Chewing rhythmically and with force directly stimulates the trigeminal nerve, triggering massive cerebral vasodilation. This literally pumps oxygen-rich blood straight to your prefrontal cortex, giving it more fuel to work with. Before your next demanding task, chew gum for 5 minutes, not as a distraction, as deliberate preparation. Your brain will have more oxygen-rich blood flowing to the prefrontal cortex exactly when it needs it most. Number 4, interleaved friction. Learning you have 5 books going at once. You're deep into a documentary and suddenly pause it to go down a rabbit hole on something completely unrelated. You've been told you never finish anything. What you're actually doing is putting your brain through what researchers at places like Harvard call cognitive friction. When you study a single subject in a straight line, your mind gets lazy and starts running on autopilot. But when you jump between radically different topics, you force your neurons to constantly load and unload entire contexts. That extra effort creates a healthy stress that thickens the myelin sheath around your neurons, boosting your brain's plasticity and letting you draw connections between abstract ideas in ways most people never get to. Try this intentionally. Next time you feel stuck on a project, don't force it. Switch to something completely unrelated for 20 minutes. Number 3, long showers. The answer came in the shower. It always does. 40 minutes. The water's gone cold. And somehow, that's exactly when it shows up. Your family's furious. You're wasting water. You're being lazy. You're impossible. But in that stillness, you're guiding your mind into something genuinely valuable. Routine motor actions that don't require conscious thought quiet the hypervigilance of your prefrontal cortex and activate the default mode network. The warm water and the isolation push your brain into producing alpha waves, handing the wheel to your subconscious, which then sorts through enormous amounts of stored information and generates moments of pure insight that would never surface under fluorescent office lighting. If you can't take 40-minute showers, replicate the conditions. Warm water, no phone, no input. Even 10 minutes of deliberate sensory monotony can push your brain into that alpha state. Stillness fuels your mind. So does something else. And people at your desk will judge you for it every time. Number 2, the caloric toll of cognitive effort. You just can't get into deep focus without something sweet within reach, or you're snacking on carbs while you work through something hard. People around you read this as zero self-control, but think about it this way. Your brain makes up only about 2% of your body weight, yet it burns through 20% of your body's glucose. When you're up against something mentally demanding, you need that fuel fast. Across the blood-brain barrier and straight into the work. Now, eating during complex mental effort pushes the limits of your cognitive endurance. You're directly feeding your astrocytes so your biological processor can work harder, run faster, and reach conclusions that are simply out of range for someone running on empty. You're not eating out of boredom. You're feeding the machine. Keep something light within reach during your next deep work session. Dark chocolate, fruit, or a handful of nuts. Not as a treat, but as fuel. Your brain will cash in on every gram of glucose you give it exactly when it needs it most. Number 1, defending your focus. You're in the zone, deep in a problem that matters, fully locked in, and out of nowhere, someone walks in to ask something trivial. Your reaction is immediate and disproportionate. An explosion of frustration, a sharp response, a furious sigh that clears the room. Everyone decides you have a terrible personality. Here's what's actually happening. That reaction isn't bad character. It's your brain defending its internal architecture. To work through high-complexity problems, your prefrontal cortex builds a massive, extraordinarily fragile structure inside your working memory. Think of it as a fragile mental structure. A single interruption physically collapses that entire structure in a split second. Your brain registers that loss of energy and cognitive effort as a direct threat and floods your system with cortisol. That anger is your brain protecting its focus from disruption. The people who understand this about themselves stop apologizing for it. Set clear boundaries around your deep work time. Let people know when you're unavailable. Close the door. Put your phone on silent. Protecting your focus isn't antisocial. It's the smartest thing you can do for your brain. If listening to all of this gave you a deep sense of relief, breathe easy. You're not a walking disaster, and you don't have character flaws. Having these habits means you have a mind that works differently. And now you have the neuroscience to back that up. Understanding that your quirks have real neuroscience behind them is the first step towards stopping the war against yourself and starting to use all of that capacity to your advantage. Drop a comment and let me know how many of these 10 habits you actually have. I'd love to find out how many misunderstood minds are in this community. If this video helped you see yourself differently, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, this content is informational and educational and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Don't judge yourself for being different. Understand yourself and use what makes you unique. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more content like this. See you next time.